Hello everyone. Today we will discuss the pathophysiological aspects of peptic ulcer disease. Under this presentation, we will cover definition part of peptic ulcer disease, gastric ulcers and duodenal ulcers, etiological factors responsible for peptic ulcer disease, role of some specific cells in the immune response, role of Helicobacter pylori as the main cause of peptic ulcer disease, complications associated with the disease, different diagnostic methods, and the treatment line of peptic ulcer disease. Peptic ulcers are the erosions of gastric mucosal lining in any portion of the GI tract. This ulceration is of circumscribed in nature, which occurs in the areas which are mainly exposed to more acid and pepsin. But it was the old saying, since 2003, after Graham has reported that most often cause of the peptic ulcer disease is the association or the presence of Helicobacter pylori. Depending upon the site of action, peptic ulcers are divided into two types of ulcers, gastrics and duodenal. Gastric ulcers are the ulcers that occur in the stomach lining and they are sometimes malignant in nature. But duodenal ulcers, which comprise the 95% cases of peptic ulcer disease, are most often seen in the first part of the duodenum. The major etiological factors involved are hyperacidity, pepsins, and the use of non-steroidal anti-inflammatory agents along with the Helicobacter pylori infection, stress, and smoking. When our mucosal lining is intact or if we have the strong defense system, the mucosal lining acts as a defense wall against all these etiological factors like hyperacidity, pepsin and NSAIDs. But due to the persistent presence of these attackers, somehow the mucosal lining gets weakened up and which eventually leads to the weak defense mechanism. This weak defense mechanism gets attacked by the invasion of Helicobacter pylori, which is an opportunistic microorganism and is the major cause of peptic ulcer disease nowadays, along with the stress and smoking. The main pathogenesis of this disease depends upon the critical balance between the hostile factor and the protective factors. When the protective factors are overweight by the hostile factors, means the presence of Helicobacter pylori, increased gastric acid production, pepsins, and the usage of NSAIDs, then it leads to the peptic ulcer formation or eruptions in the mucosal lining of GI tract. Or we can say that the suppression of bicarbonate ions, prostaglandin E2 levels, less mucus production and decreased blood flow to the mucosal lining, they eventually lead to the peptic ulcer formation. If there is balance between these two factors, the mucosa becomes healthy. Now, the pathophysiology of duodenal ulcer, which is mainly related to stress, has been discussed in the present slide. Stress basically leads to the alteration in behavior as well as the physiological alteration, means the functional alteration. Behavioral alteration leads to the increased smoking, drinking and the NSAIDs usage along with the decreased sleep content and the breakfast. However, due to functional alteration, the blood flow to the mucosal lining get decreased down along with the increased acid production and disturbed motility, means increased gastric motility and decreased duodenal motility along with the decreased defensive immunity. Smoking, drinking and NSAIDs and decreased blood flow leads to the weak mucosal defense mechanism and decreased sleep, hyperacidic like condition and disturbed motility leads to the hyperacidic environment in first part of the duodenum, which eventually leads to the invasion of Helicobacter pylori and ultimately reflects the defensive immunity system suppression. These three major factors eventually leads to the formation of duodenal ulcer due to stress. As we have discussed in the pathophysiology earlier, the major cause of the disease is Helicobacter pylori infection. Around 85 to 90% of the cases are because of the presence of Helicobacter pylori, and along with it, stress, either emotional, traumatical, or surgical stress is also involved. Injury to or death of mucosal producing cells, excess acid production in the stomach, and the uncontrolled usage of or the chronic use of non-steroidal anti-inflammatory agents or the corticosteroid type of. As we have seen that majorly the Helicobacter pylori infection is present in most of the cases of peptic ulcer disease, and it is most commonly present worldwide around 20%. Men to women ratio is, in case of duodenal ulcer, it is 4:1, and in case of gastric ulcer, it is half for the development of peptic ulcer disease. Earlier, it was said that when there is no acid, no ulcer, but now the statement has been changed. It said that if there is no Helicobacter pylori infection, then there will be no ulcer. Other Helicobacter pylori related disorders are gastric lymphoma, reflux esophagitis, and non-ulcer dyspepsia. Now, if we look at the difference between the duodenal ulcer and the gastric ulcers, as we have discussed, male to female ratio is half in case of gastric ulcer as compared to the duodenal ulcers, and duodenal ulcers are most commonly seen because the duodenal site is 4 times more prone to the Helicobacter pylori infection as compared to the gastric sites. Also, in most of the duodenal ulcers, Helicobacter pylori infection is very commonly seen, but in gastric ulcer, only 10 to 20% of the patient with gastric ulcers have a concomitant duodenal ulcers. One important thing to be noted down related to the duodenal ulcer is it is most commonly seen with the patients of blood group O. The manifestations of the peptic ulcer disease are episodes of remission, pain which usually subsides after taking meals or the use of antacids, gastrointestinal bleeding and hemorrhage, which comprise of 20 to 25% of the patients, perforation of mucosal membrane, which is ultimately leading to the mortality, and obstruction of the gastrointestinal tract. For diagnostic purpose, endoscopy, barium meal contrast X-ray, biopsy bacteria and malignancy detection, and the presence of Helicobacter pylori infection by the endoscopy cytology, biopsy, culture and urate tests to be followed. Urate a strip test which easily detects the presence of urease enzyme, which is a characteristic feature of Helicobacter pylori infection presence. Red signal shows the positivity and yellow signal shows the negative test. This disease is associated with some complications like bleeding, pyloric stenosis, perforated mucosal membrane, and the gastric carcinoma. Now, the treatment of peptic ulcer disease has been classified into two major categories: non-pharmacological treatment and pharmacological treatment. For non-pharmacological category, the patient should avoid spicy and heavy meals, avoid xanthine containing beverages, avoid alcohol and smoking, and the whole meal gets split down into the smaller, frequent low calorie meals, and avoid the usage of those drugs which can aggravate the ulcers like non-steroidal anti-inflammatory agents, corticosteroids, xanthine derivatives, and parasympathomimetic drugs. Now the pharmacological treatment, which is ensuring the 99% of the success rate, that is triple therapy for 14 days, which comprised of the proton pump inhibitor, clarithromycin and amoxicillin. Any of the proton pump inhibitor like omeprazole, lansoprazole, rabeprazole or esomeprazole can be combined with clarithromycin and amoxicillin for 14 days for the complete eradication of the Helicobacter pylori infection. So, from today's discussion, we have covered the objectives of peptic ulcer disease pathophysiology basis, which includes etiological factors, role of immune responses, role of Helicobacter pylori, complications associated with the disease, diagnostic methods, and the treatment line. I hope the topic has give you the complete knowledge of the disease. Thank you for your patience listening.